It needed to be said. Welcome to the Horseman Podcast, a show where we explore open-form conversations. We are your hosts, Greg, and...
I'm Josh.
Today is July 2nd, and today's topic, we're going to be exploring and researching the topic of a thing that Josh and I really, truly love, coffee.
It is.
Please stay with us.
Well, Greg, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Josh. How are you doing?
Man, after yesterday, I'm doing fantastic today. It's been a good day today.
Oh, did you get yourself a good cup of coffee this Friday morning?
I did. I had 2 ginormous cups of coffee out of my friend's mug, and I did it with the same mixture I've been doing it the past couple of weeks, which is, it's a little weird. It's powdered coffee creamer and maple syrup. And it didn't fail me again this week. But I may have to stop because I'm almost running out of maple syrup and it's expensive. So.
Oh, no worries. You can always get some more.
Or, heat it up and thin it out. That's not a bad advice. What would you say is your when you wake up and you're going for coffee, what's your mix?
It just depends. I'm kind of a black coffee drinker.
Okay.
It's just like dark. Just leave it plain how it is. I know it's kind of like Albert Camus-esque, but I'm just like, all right, let's get to it.
Yeah.
But also as well too, I'm not like opposed to any like type of flavored drinks. Like when I first started getting into coffee, it wasn't like, the Americanos or like, those brewers that you see your parents brewing in the morning, or that classy French press. It was like going to an espresso stand, and I was in high school, and I was with this girl. She's like, you gotta drink coffee at some point. But I'm like, the work that we're doing here isn't that like hard. Like, I don't need to stay up,
Yeah.
And she's like, no, you just gotta go enjoy the atmosphere. So she took me to this place called Tom Tom's. And she's like, you don't have to get coffee, but let me introduce you to a chai latte. Ooh. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm down with that. And at the time, I only thought coffee was hot. And then she ordered it iced.
Ah.
And I was like, what? She's like, yeah. It's just like you can get 2 espresso shots, milk, some chai, and you can have it iced. That was the concept that, for some reason, I didn't think.
Of having coffee cold instead of hot?
Of having coffee. I was like, whoa! And there it was, the dirty chai that entered my life and would forever change my life forever.
So, I think the first time I tried chai was at a bakery I worked at a couple years ago, and I had it iced. I think it was dirty. I'm not entirely too sure, but it was really, really, really good. And I thought chai was this kind of tea thing that tasted really, really herbally and dirt, like earthy. It was not. It was. I can't really describe the taste. It's more of you have to experience the taste than try to describe it.
No, I think you kind of hit it because it is very herbally. It does have some of those earth tones as well into, in there, but there's also like a touch of sweetness,
Yeah, just a
you know?
touch, and it's basically the perfect amount.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think we both have barista experience. How far back does your barista experience go?
I was a barista in college in downtown Seattle, and that's definitely, I would consider one of the definite coffee like capitals of the world,
Mm.
you know? Because you have, Miss Lady Starbucks down there.
Oh, which one's that one? Oh, I'm trying to remember which that one is. I don't know if
What?
I've
Which Starbucks? What Starbucks is?
the lady the last one you just said.
Oh, Lady Starbucks?
Lady
That
Starbucks.
I was just referring to the
Oh, okay,
siren.
gotcha. Yeah, gotcha. um, so barista in Starbucks back in college. Did
Yeah,
you
back in
have
college.
any other barista experience outside of Starbucks or just that?
Yeah, so I worked there, for 2 years when I was going to school. I left, to finish up my degree. And then after that, I went, worked a little bit. Then I went back to working as a barista after I graduated for another 2 years.
Okay. Uh, yeah, it seems. I don't know. How is the Starbucks? I've never worked in Starbucks before. How is the atmosphere compared to, say, like a local coffee shop?
So like Starbucks, like I view it as you're like more on the go, 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 go. And
Okay.
it's kind of like a community staple, wherever you go. Um, You know, Also, we're not sponsored by Starbucks. If
No, we're not. We're
Starbucks
not.
would like to give us a free pound of coffee, that would be great.
That's maybe
Um,
fantastic.
Please bring back the house blend on tap.
Yeah.
Um,
Just sit there just pouring it like it's a bar. That's what we
yeah,
need. We need like, oh wait, I think there is like a coffee bar in Seattle. Isn't there?
yeah, I think there's a couple of them out there.
Yeah.
I haven't been to it, but I
Yes.
would sure like to go.
Would you what do you prefer atmosphere wise? Do you prefer the busy bustle rush of a Starbucks, or do you prefer the almost slow down pace, very take your time local coffee shop?
I think it could go either way, Even some of these like now local coffee shops are popping too,
Yeah.
They're practically like a Starbucks.
Yeah.
It like for me, like when I drink coffee, that kind of determines like the mood that I'm going to be in.
Okay.
So it's just like if it's going to be kind of a fast-paced type of day, I don't want to be really too fancy with my coffee, It's just like I'll get an Americano or, just a cold brew, no sweetener or anything, just black. And it's just like, all right, no sweetener, just ready to go. But
Yeah.
if it's just like if I'm having like sitting down having coffee with a friend, it's just like that's when I start like, exploring different areas. It's just like, okay, I'm here, I'm going to be here for a quick second, it's just like I'm going to get something nice,
Yeah.
And that's when like I bust out like, oh, I'll get a chai latte or like, you know, yeah, practically a chai latte is kind of like my go-to, or like a fancy iced Americano or a fancy iced cold brew.
Yeah, you're talking about the fast go orders where it's a simple. It's usually something that you would get on a day-to-day basis.
Oh yeah.
When I was working for the nonprofit over on Second Avenue, uh, I would get dropped off about a block from a Starbucks, and every single day when I went in, I would get a grande, uh, a blonde grande with a couple shots of heavy cream, and that was just like because it was the most amount of caffeinated, the least amount of like carbs or calories because I was on keto at the time, and it was just it was like I don't know $4 maybe something like that. And yeah, it is expensive for a daily coffee, but for something that was as high in caffeine as that, it worked, and that's what I got every single. I would walk in with one of those every single day. It was like, you get that every day, yeah, and then you starts getting a little bit expensive, so you start bringing your own coffee, or make
Oh
yours at
yeah,
work.
no, definitely.
Um, for I think daily, as far as my daily intake of coffee, it ranges. I usually get coffee at work. anywhere between 6 and 7:30 a.m. because it's 7:30 is usually about when I take my first 15, and that's where I eat breakfast. But that's I wish I had my tumbler with me. It's around here somewhere. But the tumbler's about this big, so it holds about 2 cups of coffee.
Oh my god.
It holds about 2 cups of coffee, and I think on my Fridays, which is actually my Thursdays, I'll drink about 3 of those because I'll stay up until 11 p.m. So I'll need something to keep me going. Most days it's about between 2 and 4 cups of coffee, depending on how the day goes. If it's a really slow day, I'll drink 2 cups of coffee. It's a really I'll drink 2 of those tumblers. But if it's a fast, busy day where we're running around like chickens with our heads cut off, it'll be like 2 cups of coffee because I won't have time to sit down and drink it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So what's the most amount of coffee you've drank in a time span?
I think I might have just. I was on this film shoot. This was over in Twist, Washington 3 years ago. And it was a pretty big film production, you know. There was 20 people, you know, and I was the director of photography. And then also as well, too, our director had us decided to, because they were also in the piece as well, too, decided to step down and be in the piece more. So it was me and the assistant director, you know, kind of running the show. And it's just like, we have a crew of 20 people, man. And it's just like, we got to make sure that everybody's fed, everybody's, you know, everything's just going on pace. And we only had 3 days to shoot a 30-page script. And to give you, like, kind of an average, you know, like, a normal Hollywood production, they would only do 3 pages per day. So it's just like, okay, we have to do practically 10 pages per day.
Yeah.
You know? And then also, like, making sure everybody gets breaks, you know, food, lunch, you know, sleep, you know? It's just like, oh, man. And I remember during the first night, oh, no, this was the second day. I started off with a cup of coffee, and then we got to our film shoot, and then someone had brought out an AeroPress.
Oh.
Like, are you familiar with it?
Yeah, I have one. It's sitting up in my cabinet.
Yeah, and we were just making AeroPress coffee back to back to back. And then at one point, they put the AeroPress coffee, you know, the guy got a genius idea. It's like, we'll put it in this coffee, like, you know, brewer mug.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, so everybody could share. And, like, I don't know how it happened, you know, just through the course of, like, running a film production, I was just holding that thing. And I was just drinking right out of this coffee brewer.
Oh, good God. So you had anywhere from between, like...
2 to 12 cups of coffee.
Good
Easy.
Lord, that's a lot of coffee.
Yeah, but we got that film production done.
There you go. So, yeah.
It was like, bam!
Yeah, 12 cups of coffee. I had... It was a 14-hour day at the bakery. I had my first espresso shot at 4 a.m., and I had one almost every single hour that I worked. So I ended the day with like 14 espresso shots. And I had probably maybe 7 lattes, 7 iced lattes. So my caffeine intake was like, I went home and I was like, I'm going to bed by, like, very, very quickly, and just crashed for 12 hours. And thank goodness I didn't have to get up at 4 a.m. and work another 14.
Oh, yeah.
But that was I was kept just doing espresso shots. So, like, how many more are you going to do? I have no idea. I just need to keep going because I'm here all day.
I do remember those days at Starbucks because, you know, some people would like to sample, you know, with the barista.
Yeah.
And, like, all of a sudden it's just like, oh, man, I've been to 6 tables and I've taken 6 shots of coffee within this hour.
Oh, God.
And it's just like, woo!
You know what we should do is we should set up a cup, like, do shots of each and make 6 or 7 shots of, like, different types of coffee and taste them all out.
Oh, yeah.
The amount of caffeine intake that would be, Wired. That's the word, wired. We'd be flying off the wall.
Well, like also as well too when I did because I went through the coffee master program over at Starbucks, we would have to do that. You know, we would like brew, like 4 or 5 different coffees. They would still give you a shot, but still like you're like, dude, I'm here with my homies.
Yeah.
Like, you're just going to drink this much.
Yeah.
I feel like obligated to like drink it all.
Right.
Because it's just like we made all of this.
Yeah.
And it's just like and it's like there is kind of a disappointment when you have to pour out coffee.
Yes, there is.
Like, it doesn't matter. It's just like, even if it's that little bit, it's just like, it's just like, I could have filled it up less, or it's just like, I should have had more.
Yeah, you should have had more.
But,
does Starbucks do the thing where you don't have to pay for food and drinks on your shift?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
The bacon gouda was my best friend.
Yes. Yeah. Because the bakery that I worked at, we had the same thing, where as long as you're on shift, you got to eat and drink basically however much you wanted.
Oh, nice.
And boy, a lot of us had some pretty insane mixes with different coffees.
Oh, yeah.
It was... I don't know how none of us had like our blood pressures didn't rise through the freaking roof because of how much coffee we drank on a given kneading day, which was 4 days a week. The amount of coffee was just ridiculous.
Man, that does sound ridiculous.
Yeah, it does. What are some when you tell someone you're a barista at Starbucks, what are some like misconceptions that people have about baristing at like a large coffee chain like that?
I don't know. I never really told my friends I worked at Starbucks.
Oh, okay.
But my very close friends knew, and I would just hook them up with drinks. Like,
Yeah.
I know you're not supposed to, but I did anyway.
It's not like they're gonna miss it.
Well, like, like corporate, but it's just like,
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, you're here, wink, wink. I'm like, wink, wink. Here we go. Don't go through the drive-through.
Did you ever handle like the drive-through station?
Oh yeah, dude. I smacked.
Okay.
Like, I wouldn't give my name. First off, I'm like, welcome to Starbucks. How can I help you today?
Yeah. Did you do any like ones that you like mess with people, like you did voices or whatnot?
I didn't really get into that. The biggest thing that I was trying to do was try to be as fast as possible.
Okay.
So I let you did the talking.
Gotcha.
I know, like, with like some of those drive-through Starbucks, the barista's like talking like 24/7. You're like, whoa. Like, for me, it's just like, I figured you already know your coffee order.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for you to tell me. And that's what made me a very effective when I just did drive-through over there. I was like, hey, how's it going?
How many times did the pay it back thing happen?
Dude, that thing happens all the time.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about going through drive-through. Sometimes you stumble upon that, and it's amazing that when it happens to you or in front of you, you get like this sense of like, wow, that kind of made my day. And as the person who did it, you walk away knowing I just blew their mind and made their day, and hopefully that it's like it's fun. It's so much fun to see. Did you have one that went on for like a long time?
Yeah, we actually had like a couple of them that went for a while. I'm like, this is like 10 cars deep.
Oh wow!
I was like, whoa.
Does it now? Does it happen in groups? Like it's like 1 hour it'll happen, or does it usually spread out, or is it just it's random?
It's just random.
That's
like
just random.
You can't predict that.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because I remember one day it happened to me and it kept on going back. What I didn't know is I had a friend working in that store at the same time, and he wasn't at the station that was the drive-through station. He was in the back, but he heard what was going on, and he was like looking at all the receipts, and he happened to see my name. He let me know the night prior, the night after, that the line of cars that it happened spanned, I think it was something like 40 odd minutes of this happening right in a row, and it made it. I think it made some local headlines or whatnot. It was like a 40 minutes, something like that. But it blew my mind. It was like 40 minutes of people just giving back to the car, back to them. It was like, when would that ever happen again? Like, it's heartwarming. It's awesome.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Do you know where coffee got its start?
Coffee got its start.
Yeah.
It got started in Ethiopia, my friend.
Ethiopia? Okay. Because there's a couple of interesting notes, because there's like each story, like each part of the world you go to, you hear like a different part of the world. But I've heard the main consistent one is Ethiopia, so I've got to just accept that as truth. Now, the one thing that I'm having when I was doing my research was the different time periods people were saying. Some people were saying in the 1500s, others were saying in the 9th century, some were saying as early goes back to like the BCs. But the one thing that still remains is the goats, the goat
Definitely
part of the story,
goats.
and the monks also. That remains a crucial part of the story. And the other one is what coffee is identified. Some people identify it as like a seed because it resembles legumes. Is that how you say that? And then some of it say it's a fruit because of like cherry-like berries. So I mean, there's a different ones like coffee or seed, but either way, you're getting some good energy inside of you because it's actually can be healthy for you. There's diets that have at least one black cup of coffee a day, maybe two. And I'm trying to remember. I know the type of coffees. I know it's Arabica,
Arabica,
and then there's one other. It starts with an R.
like Robusta.
Yeah, Robusta or Robusto, something like that. Now, can you guess the country that produces
hold up.
more? Hold up,
Dude. Yeah. What? Oh, all right. Oh, all right. I'm kind of in the middle of something. So I'll get it.
Well, everything good?
Yeah, everything's good.
Okay. Do you know what country produces the most coffee?
Isn't it that Brazil?
It is Brazil. With a third, has produced 1/3 of the world's coffee for over 150 years. Do you know who the second place country is?
The second country that produces the most?
Yeah.
Let's see.
It's surprising.
I have two guesses.
Okay.
All right. One would be Mexico,
Okay.
and then the next one would be somewhere in Asia.
Ooh, you're close on the second one.
So let me like tune my like coffee senses, bring out, what is it, the Sumatra, and it's like, all right.
Now, don't let like your thoughts be warring against each other. So
They're definitely not going against each other. I want to say the Philippines.
okay, that's a good guess. Vietnam.
Vietnam.
Yeah.
That's pretty close.
Yeah. I had a very, very bad hint that I threw in there because I forgot about the Philippines because I said don't let your thoughts be warring against each other. And it was a very, 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 very subtle hint.
Dude, that's pretty bad.
It's bad. It's very bad. So Vietnam.
Funny. I'm just kidding. Oh my God.
The Vietnam is the second. Now
Okay.
this one is a surprising one. Can you name the country that consumes the most amount of coffee, despite not being able to produce it?
Probably the U.S., honestly.
Finland.
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 Finland drinks more coffee than us?
At almost 25 cups a day. Almost 25 cups. 25 cups. It's like something. 25 cups compared to like the U.S. 11. Like the U.S. is like way down, but Finland's like way up.
What?
Yeah, yeah. That's why I said it's a surprising one, but it's Finland, not the U.S. It's like, okay, there's one. We were talking about the health. What's the word? I forgot the word. Health benefits of coffee, and some of it is actually, and it temporarily increases metabolism. So like before you go to a gym, some trainers will actually have you drink coffee before a workout because it increases fat burning, or it maximizes fat burning.
Oh wow!
And so, if used effectively and in the right amount, and with the right proportions, you can actually use it for weight loss. But it's not like, if you drink 10 cups of coffee a day, you'll lose 250 pounds in a week. It's like, that's not how it works.
I think that is how it works. I'm just kidding.
Imagine if coffee could stimulate your heart so much that within drinking a cup of coffee, you could legitimately use a pound. Like lose a pound.
I would never stop drinking coffee.
Yeah, but imagine how dangerous that would be.
Until I am nothing no more.
And you're just coffee. You
I
are no
am now
longer
the
Greg.
bean.
You're no longer Greg. You are the bean.
I am the bean.
You are the bean. Now, overdosing on coffee.
Oh, definitely happens.
Definitely happens. Do you know how much it takes?
Okay, let's clarify overdose real quick. So are we talking about like
Enough to kill you? Enough to kill you.
Honestly, like I think if anyone has more than 15,
70.
they're done.
70 for about 150 pound person.
It takes 70
cups about 150 pound person.
Wow.
Yeah, about 68 kilograms of caffeine.
All right.
So don't get down to 150, and don't ever drink 70 cups of coffee in one sitting.
I think that's where I am, close to 150 right now.
I've got about 35 pounds.
And I have a pretty big coffee supply.
There you go.
We'll see on this next week's podcast if I have become the bean.
Now introducing, it's not Greg Sibbets, it's the bean. And
this floating like coffee bean, right? Here.
We have to call you the bean, and we cannot
call me the bean.
We cannot call you Mr. Bean. That is
taken.
taken.
Can't call me Mr. Bean.
That is taken.
That's already taken.
Now,
it's Bean.
There's two incidents that I found that surprised me. The fact that women could actually divorce over the issue of coffee, and that people have tried to ban coffee.
Well, you could get a divorce over coffee, but that doesn't surprise me, though.
In the 1600s, there was a law, and it actually went both ways. If the husband didn't provide his wife daily coffee, or if the wife didn't supply her husband daily coffee, they could actually get a divorce over that. That was actually legal standing.
I think that is a pretty solid legal standing that should still stand.
Yeah, and it kind of funny because I was gonna use, instead of legal standing, I went with legal standing, but I was gonna go with legal grounds because I just felt like that was.
Josh, I hate you! You do this too much, latte.
You were. So I think it was a good idea for you to use legal standing, but legal ground still holds its own.
Could bring up trouble over there.
Yeah. But it was that could happen, and also the banning. It was again back in like the Middle Ages, 1511. Leaders in Mecca believed it could stimulate radical thinking, and they outlawed the drink. In the 16th century in Italy, there was a clergyman who tried to ban coffee because they believed it to be satanic, but because the Pope loved the coffee so much, he lifted the ban and actually baptized it in 1600.
Oh, what?
I didn't know you could baptize coffee. I mean, it was just like... I mean,
That seems
because
pretty legit.
if you think about it, it makes sense if you have to baptize coffee, because you already have to boil the hell out of the water to get the coffee to a hot place. So, I mean, it's makes sense, baptizing the coffee
Definitely
every day.
makes sense.
Yeah, and also in Sweden, I believe, in the 18th century, they made the Swedish government made coffee and coffee paraphernalia, like cups and dishes, illegal for its supposed ties to rebellious sentiment. And I'm like, how can you really, like, it's coffee, it's just a drink. Like, I would get, like, if they wrote the paraphernalia, like, if they wrote propaganda on the cups, but, I mean, there's some weird thinkers back in the early days, like, yeah, coffee's satanic, ban it! It's like, no, it's interesting. I don't know. That's some weird laws that took place over coffee.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And we got someone up in the chat too. Hey, what's up, Daniel? The largest ever cup of coffee. You want to take a swag at how many gallons?
Let's see. The largest cup of coffee.
And the Guinness World Record, by the way.
The Guinness World Record.
Yes.
All right. The largest cup.
Yep.
That would have to be a very big cup.
Yes.
So, and some people do have big cups.
Yeah.
I would say 5 gallons.
You're going with 5 gallons is the largest cup of coffee.
Yes, that's my final answer.
Guinness World Record of the largest cup of coffee was a 9-foot tall cup and held 3,487 gallons of coffee.
Dude, that's bullshit. How was going to drink that much? That doesn't even count.
Hey, I don't make the rules. I'm just, it's
Where's
the Guinness.
I want to talk to them personally.
Well,
I think I
actually...
can't just make a cup of coffee. It's like, all right, we're going to let it go to waste.
Oh,
like what?
Okay, if no one drank that cup of coffee, then that's bullshit. But if it was like, all right, we got the world's biggest cup of coffee, now everybody goes home with 3 gallons of coffee.
But that's 3 gallons, though.
Right. No, it's true. It's true. I mean, if someone got if it was three gallons divided up equally, then anyone who had 3.1 gallons would have the world record.
Would be the winner.
Exactly. That's just crazy. 3,487 gallons. Like, that's
not a record. I want to know the actual who drank.
Who drank the okay, let's see, the world's biggest coffee. Well, let's see. Yeah, it was the world's largest cup of coffee contains 22,739 liters, or 5,091 gallons. Sorry, 6,000 gallons. It was created in Colombia in 2019. In order to build the cup, 50 people worked for more than a month on this project. Like, there are some giant cups of coffee, but I'm hoping that they just put water and it was like black food coloring in it, It was like, this is coffee cup, and it wasn't actually coffee. Because putting all that coffee to waste.
And then also, it's probably instant coffee too, which is more bullshit.
Yeah. Okay. Instant coffee. Hang on. Instant coffee is just, I don't know. People say it's coffee. Okay. Instant coffee, I feel, is a moderate, okay substitute if you don't have anything else in the house. But I don't consider instant coffee to be coffee, and the reason why is instant coffee, it's not brewed. You're stirring it, and then it just melts. It just conforms into the water. Like I think if to make coffee, you actually have to brew it. Like it has to be water poured over grounds or beans in order to get the result of coffee. I think that's a good standard.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, because it's like instant coffee is instant coffee, and it's great, but it's instant coffee. It's not that great. And then I have one more fact for you.
All right.
What does decaf mean to you? What is decaf to you?
What does decaf mean to me?
Like when you think of decaf, what do you think of?
I think, the hidden subtlety of telling people I'm drinking regular coffee, but it's decaf.
How much caffeine would you say goes into decaf coffee?
Dude, they strain out the decaf. Or strain out the caffeine.
It actually contains up to 12 milligrams of caffeine.
What?
Yeah. It's actually not completely caffeine free. It has a little bit of caffeine in it, but not enough.
Oh yeah, you can't make it like clean.
Yeah. So it's like people's like, "Oh, I'm drinking decaf." It's so that way I'm avoiding caffeine, but I'm still drinking coffee. It's like you're still like ingesting caffeine even if it's a small amount. And decaf coffee is not that far off from regular coffee. It's the same taste. Well, it's actually not the same taste. I've had decaf coffee before, and it's not the same.
Did you just shit on decaf coffee, Josh?
I did. I'm not a fan.
Get
I'm not a
here.
fan. I'm not a
Get
fan of
here.
decaf.
I'm logging off. This has been the Horseman Podcast. This is our last episode, unfortunately, because Josh doesn't know how to appreciate a decaf cup of coffee.
This goes perfectly with the Turkish fact of divorcing over coffee.
Yes. Oh, I'm having a divorce.
The Horseman has been...
I'm taking my share of the Horseman. You can have the podcast part. I want the Horseman.
So I'll still have the podcast. You'll just take the Horseman part. Okay, can I take the in? Can I take the in? So it's just a Horsema. You can have the Horsema, and I'll have podcast.
No, I want the whole Horseman. The Horseman, you can have podcast. So next week when you tune in, there's going to be a bean, and it's going to be called podcast.
And it's coffee's one of those things where it's one of those things that have slipped into our daily lives, and I don't know if some of us have realized it, but it's kind of one of the things you get up in the morning, you're like, okay, I want a cup of coffee. And it's ingrained in your brain. And a cup of coffee is what started a lot of things.
Definitely.
And a cup of coffee, when people say, we're going to have a conversation over a cup of coffee, you find that in books, you find that in movies, you find that in music.
You find that in real life.
You find that in real life all the time. It's one of those things that you can just really depend on because it's just there. And experiment with your coffee. Find something you like. Experiment around with it. Or if you just like me, just keep it same old, same old, same old. But coffee is another way of using it to express creative ideas like latte art, which I'll still don't know how to do, but I'll learn it someday. We can do it's all in the wrist.
All in the wrist.
But we thank you guys for joining us. We are happy to be back after a delay. We were able to get some new graphics up. Hope you guys enjoy them. We have a lot of clips posted up on the 42 Studios Instagram, and we have more stuff coming to YouTube. This has been the Horseman Podcast. I'm Josh.
I'm Greg.
And thank you guys so much for being with us. Peace out and have a wonderful rest of your day.